I have a grandchild, 5 years old. I know that is the educational system you are teaching. I'm going to be arriving with wanting to share with him the facets to Cayetano, and I adore him. I will arrive super thrilled of wanting to teach it to him. Can you tell me how can I teach them?
You know, one of the most important things is what you're being. As you let go of your fears, your old programs, and you start to anchor more in that place of peace, you start to give him security to do the same, no? We teach the little kids the love facet. And it's very simple, no? Love creates me in my perfection. And we've got the book for kids. And if in the future you want to learn how to teach children, we have courses for that as well. But initially, you can just teach him the facet and close his eyes and get him to unify with you for a few minutes. He probably won't do 20 minutes. You know, but just say this when you feel nervous or anxious. Think this facet. Yeah. And read him the book of Aiko. It's very good for kids. And we've got Ishita looking for love, and there's all sorts of different things. Yeah.
Sometimes happens when after a while that I'm here in the center. I have a day that I feel a little flat, and I feel a little bit of sadness with its eyes open. But then when I close them to connect, I feel the silence and my heart vibrating. And I said, nothing's happening here. I open my eyes, sadness. I close them, and silence. So how is this different experience?
You know, the thing is this. Before you use the facets, before you became conscious, you had a million experiences every day. But you weren't conscious of them because you did everything over the top. Only if there was something very clear happening would you notice. And now that you're in the present moment, you're anchored in your body, you're giving time to yourself, and you're clear of everything that's transpiring, no? But the thing is, you just have to watch it. It's not important. It's like you said, I feel a little bit sad, and I go into the silence. Great. You know, imagine that silence is the ocean. And all those little emotions are just little drops that want to go back to the ocean. And just look at it that way. Always looking for the silence. Because the ego, or the mind, always wants to create a story. You know, we're storytellers. It doesn't matter what it comes, we have a story. And we need to let go of the story and look for the silence. Especially if the story is full of drama and fear and negativity. So keep coming back here and just go into the silence and just enjoy. And yes, I feel a little bit melancholy. Oh well, this too will pass. Back into the silence. You know, when you're full of joy, I wonder how long this will last. You know, there's always the head wants to have something to say.
La cabeza quiere tener algo para decir.
Yes, the head's like that.
La cabeza es así.
And you're still refining.
Y tú estás todavía refinando.
You're still healing.
Estás puliendo.
You're still expanding.
Estás todavía expandiendo.
But it's becoming more delicate now, more refined. It's not so brute.
No está haciendo un trabajo bruto.
It's just like, it's the end of the sculpture.
Como que el final, los toques de pulido al final de la escultura.
You're just polishing
Estás
everything.
puliendo todo.
First you were trying to find the sculpture
Tratabas de encontrarle
in this big rock.
en esta grande roca.
Now you've got the sculpture,
Ya tienes la escultura.
you're just delicately refining it.
De manera delicada, refinándola.
You are the sculpture.
Tú eres la escultura.
Hmm?
Hi. Can you talk about destruction of ignorance?
You know, firstly, you have to get to a point of consciousness where you can see what creates your suffering. And that is your ignorance. You have tricks, you have habits, attachments that take you into that. And love has the capacity to dissolve that. You know, absolutely refined destruction of ignorance can only come from enlightenment, because the mirror has to be completely clean. It's not projecting. Till our mirror is clean, we can't really see clearly. But we can see ourselves. So internal destruction of ignorance is just a constant awareness. Oh, that takes me into suffering. That's ignorance. That's based in fear. It's ignorance. And we just keep destroying that. Or letting it go. You know, I guess the word destruction is quite a big word, no? But often ignorance needs destruction, no? But just to be clear and to see it, you know, and just to be present, see through it, and let it go.
Why is that in one day I'm fine, I feel happy, I want to embrace the world, and next day I feel bored. As there is la chiripiorca, I feel flat. So I want to know.
You know, it's a process. The thing is, before we have expanded consciousness, we used to have moments of happiness because something was happening. You know, we go to a party, we're dancing, we're drinking, we're happy. The next day, not so happy. And it goes like this, no? It depends on what's happening externally. And because we're full of rubbish, fears and dramas and judgments and victimism, our contentment or joy is not stable. It's not permanent. So as we start to heal, the first thing we have to do is we have to become empty. So you'll have moments where you feel really expanded, and then you'll have moments where you feel really contracted because you're moving. Okay, this is a process. You expand, contract, stabilize. Expand, contract, stabilize. Expand, contract, stabilize. And the contractions become smaller and smaller and smaller. until they disappear.
hasta que simplemente desaparecen.
But people have to remember
Pero hay que acordarse
you're healing your
que
life.
lo que está sucediendo con esto es que está sanando tu vida.
It's not a magic
No
wand.
es una varita mágica,
And it's a progressive thing
es
too.
algo progresivo.
You know? And when you're expanded,
Cuando estás expandida,
you don't question.
no vas a cuestionar nada.
But when you're contracted,
Cuando estás contraída,
it's the end of the world.
ahí es el fin del mundo.
That's when you have to ring for support.
Es ahí cuando hay que llamar a los maestros para recibir apoyo.
Because it's very important to keep going.
Porque es súper importante seguir adelante.
This is a very confronting
Es
process
un proceso muy confrontante
because it's very fast.
porque va muy rápido.
And you can stabilize
Y uno puede
consciousness
estabilizar la conciencia
very
muy
quickly.
rápidamente también.
Yeah, but it's like this, no?
Pero va así, sube y baja.
It's not a slow thing.
No, que no es que es una cosa así.
Yeah, it's a fast process.
Pero es un proceso rápido.
Yeah?
Como está la expresión de Platón, creo que es,
As Plato said,
yo solo sé que no sé,
I only know I know nothing.
¿tú crees que era más fácil
Do you think that before it was easier in those times
encontrar la conciencia como había
to find consciousness because it was not so much distraction in those times like the internet and the TV, the magazines, the books, all that?
Do you know the extremity of ignorance in Plato's time?
¿Tú tienes idea el extremo de la ignorancia en las épocas de Platón?
Like, really? No, it wasn't easier.
No, no es que era más fácil.
You know, the thing that
La cosa que
is it doesn't matter the time.
que no importa en qué tiempo,
It's the focus of the person.
el tema es el foco de cada persona.
You know, throughout
A
history,
lo largo de la historia
there's been enlightenment.
ha habido iluminación.
In fact, the most famous persons in
De
history
hecho, las personas más famosas en la historia
were enlightened.
han sido iluminados.
And that's available to
Y
everyone,
eso está disponible para todos.
irrespective of the time.
De los tiempos,
But it's a focus,
pero es un foco,
it's a clarity,
es una claridad,
it's a
es
truth,
una verdad,
it's an unwavering desire.
es un deseo inamovible.
And it's the hardest thing for any human to achieve
De lograr para cualquier ser humano.
because you have to let go of everything,
Tienes que soltar absolutamente
including everything you believe.
todo aquello que tú en lo que crees.
You have to jump
Tú tienes que dar el salto
into the void
al vacío
without a parachute.
sin paracaídas.
And it's the hardest thing for any human to do.
Es difícil de hacer para cualquier ser humano.
What is the parachute?
¿Y qué es ese paracaídas?
Suffering.
El sufrimiento.
We're so attached to suffering,
Pegados al sufrir,
you cannot imagine.
no puedes imaginar.
We're so attached to our image,
Pegados a nuestra imagen,
you can't imagine.
no puedes imaginar.
We're so attached
Tan pegados
to our illusionary
a
self,
nuestro ser ilusorio,
you can't imagine.
no puedes imaginar.
Even if we swear we don't like it,
Podemos que no nos guste,
it's what we know.
es aquello que conocemos.
And we are terrified
Estamos aterrorizados
of the unknown.
a lo desconocido.
So, internet, no internet,
¿La internet o no internet?
makes no
No hace
difference.
diferencia.
It's still the same step.
Sigue siendo el mismo paso.
Hmm.
I'm very curious now that you talk about enlightenment. How did you see you were enlightened? You talk about the people in the great times, they were enlightened. And the window that only, if you're enlightened, you can see through a clean window.
You know, it's impossible to explain with words an experience that's so life transforming, there's no question. You know, when the veil falls, you move into everything. And you realize that everything you believe is not based in truth. Your true essence, your true reality is exposed. And you are that. And it's so powerful. The love, the energy, the clarity, everything comes at once. Everything. And you live in that energy. I live permanently in that energy. And I know who I am. I know I am that. And everything's that. because that's unity. I'm not part of anything. I am the totality of everything. But it's my experience. It's a vibratory experience that is without fear. But I can't transmit that to anyone. You might be able to see something, but the experience, I can only show you what I did to get to that experience. And that experience is the Isha system. It's exactly what I did to have that experience. And as students go into high levels of consciousness, they start to resonate more with that. You know, in the beginning, we just want to get rid of our stress and stop suffering our attachments and our addictions. And then we want to expand our consciousness more and more and more. But most people don't come looking for enlightenment. Like no one that signed up in this course came looking for enlightenment. It was, they didn't even think about it. People just want to be free of suffering. So I don't really talk about that much. I talk about that to my teachers because they've committed their lives to enlightenment. And I'm constantly talking to them about that. But my students, no.
Only enlightened you can see your window clean.
Yes. There's no projection. I can see myself in everything, clearly, without judgment. This is the difference. All of the judgment falls. I just see perfection. I see love and evolution.
Hi, Isha. Can you talk about how to let go of the obsession with the thoughts that are...
When you talk, you do this. Like, please tell me how to let go of my thoughts. But I don't give a shit what you say. I know that I can't. I know I can't. My thoughts are so big. Maybe you could change your thoughts. The thoughts that make you suffer. Maybe you could catch them and more ruthlessly. This is where you need ruthless compassion with yourself. The compassion to destroy that which doesn't serve with the facets. Love creates me in my perfection. Love creates my perfection. Love. You know, when I first started breaking that cycle, I would be doing it all the time, and coming into the present moment, and coming into the present moment. And my head was a machine. You know, multitasking for me, multitasking was simplicity. I used to do billiondi-tasking. I'd be doing a billion things at once. And my head was like a machine. In. So that fanaticism, that constant chattering, use it. Use it as a positive thing. If I can think that, I can think the facet. And I can think that with the facet on top. So think it twice. Like, become obsessed with thinking the facet. And stopping here. And pretty soon, you'll let go. But you have to have the focus and use that to your benefit. You know, a lot of people are compulsive, but you can take that compulsion and use it to heal. It's not necessarily a negative thing. Some people are exigente. You can take that exigence and use it to heal. And then at some point, you'll see you can let it go. You know, all of these things you perceive as negative, that capacity to focus, to obsess, you can use that for healing. And then let it go. You know, you can choose to be a victim of your creation or a creator of your creation and allow that creation to work for you. And then, at some point, you'll see, oh, that's not love, and you let it go. But you'll have such a big experience of consciousness. It will be easy. You know, we always have a choice. That's the beauty of being human. We all have a choice. Anyone that thinks they don't have a choice is lying to themselves. Because that's the one thing humans have above all the rest of creation. We have a choice in each moment to decide who we're going to be. Am I going to be integral, a creator, walk through my fears, risk disapproval, but not abandon myself? Or am I going to be a victim that's controlled by my thoughts, that's worried about what everyone thinks, that's afraid to step forward? You can see the energy, no? And you need to see that too. What am I choosing? Am I being a warrior or a worrier?
How can I accept myself if I don't? I'm always want to be thinner, and I say, I'm going to do that when I'm thinner. It's all my life, even being thin, I wanted to be thinner.
You know, all women are like that. We're all the same. We always think we're fat. Even when we're thin, there's always something we can change. But that doesn't mean to say you're not happy. You don't have to give it so much attention. It's like a rule. If I'm not thin, I'm not happy. But it doesn't have to be like that. Because what it really is control. You feel out of control, so you have to have control. And you have to see that. You know, when I woke up, it was the fattest I'd ever been in my life. Really, I was 10 kilos more than now. And all my life, I'd been 5 kilos less than now. Always obsessed with being thin. And I still like to be thin. And I stay thin. But I'm not suffering it. I know what happens to you. It defines whether you're happy or sad. But really, it's just control. It's just control. So you have to decide, what do I want to be? Okay, that's an attachment. I'm attached to that. Would I rather be attached to being happy or to my addiction? And when you see it, facet. That doesn't mean you abandon yourself, but you don't obsess. Obsess with it. Focus on love. Yeah, because when we don't love ourselves, it doesn't matter how perfect we are, we can't see it. We can't see anything.
No podemos ver nada.
I could always see everyone else,
Siempre se puede ver a todos los demás,
but never myself.
pero nunca a uno mismo.
Never.
Nunca.
And now,
Y ahora,
where my body's probably the worst it's ever been,
que por ahí mi cuerpo está lo peor que ha estado,
because I'm getting old,
porque estoy más grande,
I love myself
me amo
and I appreciate my
y
body.
aprecio mi cuerpo.
Yeah, and this is the thing, you
Esa es
know,
la cosa.
you have to change the
Tienes
focus.
que cambiar el foco.
You have to find
Tienes que
consciousness.
encontrar la conciencia.
That's what's important.
Eso es lo más importante.
So let go of that
Así que
addiction.
sueltas la adicción.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.